In this video, you're going to learn how to develop a peak performance mindset as an athlete. Hey there, I'm Eli Straw, mental performance coach and the founder of SuccessStartsWithin.com. A peak performance mindset is a mindset you have when you're performing your best. Have you ever had those really good games where you just kind of feel like everything's going right for you? That's the peak performance mindset that you want to replicate on a consistent basis. Could you imagine if you had that mindset during every single game? How much better do you think you'd be as a player? Now, the thing is, we can work on getting you closer and closer to that by first identifying this peak performance mindset and then working on getting you into that peak performance mindset going into games. So what we're going to do in this video is I'm going to talk about the elements that kind of help build a peak performance mindset in terms of some mental training tools. Then what we're going to do is run through an exercise so you can identify your peak performance mindset to help you then replicate it going into performances moving forward. Now, to work on building your peak performance mindset, there are certain tools and techniques that you can use to just overall strengthen your mental game as an athlete. One of them is going to be building the skill of focus. The more focused you can be when you're competing, the better mindset you're going to be in. Now, one of the best exercises or techniques that you can use to build focus as an athlete is some mindfulness meditation. Mindfulness meditation involves sitting down for 5 to 10 minutes a day, closing your eyes, and focusing on your breath. As you focus on your breath, just the sensation of breathing, you're going to notice that you're going to start thinking about tons of different stuff. Your responsibility while you're performing mindfulness is to recognize when you're thinking about something and then return your attention onto your breath. That doesn't mean that you're doing it wrong. It means you're actually training it right, because it's the act of noticing your attention drifting and bringing it back onto your breath where you're starting to train your focus. You're really starting to train the ability to be in that mindful state. By training focus, what you're going to do is increase your ability to be focused during games. The more focused you can be during games, the better chance you have of getting to that peak performance mindset. Another skill that you want to focus on is self-awareness. Self-awareness is just recognizing your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions, and really understanding how each of them are formed and how they play into one another. For you as an athlete, why do you think self-awareness might be helpful? Well, think about your thoughts. If you're feeling anxious during a game, you're obviously not in a peak performance mindset. To get into that peak performance mindset, you need to identify, why am I feeling anxious? Why you're feeling anxious is going to be because of the thoughts that you have. So you also need to be able to identify, what thoughts am I having? So by building this skill of self-awareness, what that's going to do is give you the ability to recognize what you're feeling in the moment, why you're feeling that way, and then it also gives you a better chance of changing how you're feeling to get closer to that peak performance mindset. To build this skill of self-awareness, I recommend writing. Now, I know writing's not always the most exciting thing for you to do, but this kind of writing is just where you buy a journal, and your goal is to write 1 page in that journal a day. Whether you do this in the morning, the middle of the day, or the evening, it doesn't matter. But this is just a self-reflection journal. What's going to happen over time is the more that you write in that journal, the more comfortable you're going to become with recognizing your own thoughts. The better you can recognize your thoughts then, the easier it's going to be for you to recognize your thoughts going into a game. The third skill is trust in yourself. You need to have high levels of trust in your skills in order for you to be in that peak performance mindset. Because a peak performance mindset is not compatible with fear. And if you're fearful, you're doubting yourself. But if you have confidence, you're not going to be as fearful. You're not going to doubt yourself. You're not going to worry so much about making mistakes. So you want to focus on building trust in your skills. And there are 2 exercises that you can use, or 2 tools that you can use to really build confidence and trust in your skills as an athlete. First one's going to be visualization. Visualizing yourself performing, going into detail, bringing emotion into it, and just mentally rehearsing your skills. To help you learn more about how to use visualization to build confidence, I've put a card right here that links to a video I made on different visualization techniques you can use as an athlete. The second tool that you can use to build your confidence and build that trust in yourself is self-talk. Self-talk is where you come up with a certain list of statements that you want to say to yourself, and you practice repeating that list every single day. What this does is works on changing your natural thought patterns to where you think more positively, productively, and more specifically, you think in a more confident way. Now, I've also linked right here to a video I made that goes into detail on how you can develop this positive self-talk for yourself as an athlete. And then the next way that you can work on developing this peak performance mindset is by becoming more in control of your emotions. The more in control you can be of your emotions, then the more you can control that emotional state. And when we talk about a peak performance mindset, there are different elements to it, with it being focus, what you're thinking about, but then also how you're feeling, what state you're in when you're competing. Now, if you can control your emotions better, you're going to be able to get into a state that you want more consistently. Just a simple exercise that you can use to work on developing more emotional control is by really paying attention to how you react after mistakes. Mistakes are where your emotions are typically going to control you. What you want to start doing is after you make a mistake, pausing for just a brief second, taking a deep breath, and then try to take an objective view at it. And just by practicing not becoming so emotionally reactive to those situations, that's going to help you gain more control over your emotions. So those are the mental training tools and techniques and skills that you can focus on to really help develop this peak performance mindset. Now, how can you identify peak performance mindset for yourself so you can really have something specific to get into going into a performance? Well, what you want to do is outline your previous 3 to 5 best performances. Really go into detail about them. What were you focused on? What were you thinking about? How were you feeling? What kind of state were you in during those performances? So pause the video right now and just kind of list out those performances and go into as much detail as you can about them. Now that you've identified them, I want you to look back over those performances and try to find any similarities. Was there something similar with what you were thinking about, maybe how you were feeling, what you were focused on? Then your aim is to come up with a single sentence. This is going to be your peak performance statement. An example is my peak performance mindset is feeling relaxed and having fun. My peak performance mindset is being confident and trusting in my skills. My peak performance mindset is going out there feeling like I have something to prove. Once you identify this simple statement, it becomes a lot easier for you to try to get into that mindset going into your next performance. So that's how you can work on developing a peak performance mindset for you as an athlete. And the more you can compete with this peak performance mindset, the better you're going to perform physically. Because the better mindset you're in, the better your physical performances are going to be. If you have any questions about a peak performance mindset or any sports psychology topic, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. I put out new videos each day on sports psychology and mental training. Thank you for watching, and I wish you the best of success in all that you do.